people. Look, this is going to be a bit of a different format than you might be used to on Aussie Bush Harvest, but I'm just trying to find a way of being able to explore some of the nitty-gritty bits of hunting, particularly when it comes to planning hunting, logistics, gear needs, navigation, particularly in how they pertain to solo hunting in remote areas, particularly like backpack hunting in backcountry areas, that kind of thing. A lot of this relates to safety. A lot of this relates to just how we manage risks out there to our best advantage in ways that will help us with our hunting, or whatever your goals might be on your trips. So I feel like the best way that I can maybe do this is just to deconstruct some of my recent hunts, and really to the letter, like just as it happened, and then just pick moments out of it which I found teachable for myself personally, areas where I might have stuffed up, or how I might have made a different decision, that kind of thing. The first one I'm going to be looking at is a recent lake hunt that I did with a boat, chasing sambar down in Victoria, and weather was an issue on that one. To this, another hunt that I did in Victoria a couple of years ago, a backpack hunt for sambar, and I ended up getting lost. And I really want to have a good look at the reasons why I got lost and the factors involved in that, the plan Bs that I might have taken instead, that kind of thing. One major theme that comes out of this is just the use of electronics in navigation and all the benefits that we can be getting out of GPS use, which is a major part of modern hunting, but also some of the cons and how they can leave us very complacent and vulnerable out in the bush. So folks, as per usual, I can only speak to my own personal experience. That's all that I feel like I have permission to offer you guys. There's a heap of you out there who've got a lot more time in the bush than me and have a wealth of experience. There's a comment section below. Please, I really invite you to share your own experiences and your own learnings around these kind of topics, because yeah, there's plenty of new hunters, people with less experience out there who are hungry for information, and let's just try and get them the best possible information we possibly can. Anyway folks, see what you reckon. This is Hunt Debrief. Bloody hell. The tag got caught down there between the fuel line. Oh. Thankfully got a spare. Andy, I'll do my best not to pull the tag, so I really have to. Anyway, I can feel a few raindrops, so I'm just really keen to get this started. Here comes freedom. Happy days. Coming into the bay now. No one's here. Sweet little campsite just over there. I know I'll be pretty tempted to fish, but it's really starting to rain now. Then set up camp. Well, I found myself a sweet patch. There's a creek that comes out here. This is all like a creek arm of the lake. You can also see like dead trees like that. Frame of reference on the other side, you can see where the lake level normally comes up to. I'm seeing a great little flat area in there. We'll go a fair bit in, enough in, just because, you know, there has been some weather. There's every chance of the lake level coming up. Every chance. So got plenty of trees to tie off to, get the tarp happening. Definitely a work in progress here. That's where all the water will come underneath. But shelter in the meantime. Easy access to the boat, right on the lake. Well folks, that's me dry, warm and happy. And the rain set in. Everything just in time. I got a real sick spot here. I'm like right on the water. So classic conundrum here. Early morning and later in the day are ideal times for both hunting and fishing. And obviously in this case I chose to start fishing. Just got the trip off on a little bit of the wrong foot. I'm on. He's just wrapped himself around a tree. Nice rainbow. It's a pink lure, I think. Pretty well. There he is. Oh, come please, come on. He's off. Oh no! Yeah, so kicking up the hunting a little bit later in the morning, but I kind of had my heart set on seeing a little system with a wallow at the end of it, which I'd seen in previous years. Just wanted to know how it was going. If I just put that attention towards Samba from the get-go and just said, I'll focus on getting a deer until I've got one, and then switch to fishing, that might have been the wise course of action. Yeah, so the other thing is that the streams at this time of the year were all closed. And I guess I was there, early July is right between peak brown trout spawning and just before the rainbows really have a good go at it. But yeah, the creeks were alive with fish. Great to see, but wasn't something I could exploit. So as I'd made my way up the creek, I was specifically looking for just any kind of recent sign at all. I knew there was this wallow up here. To me, that is not recently used. You can see the top layer of the wallow is getting clearer and the milky stuff's only at the bottom. I wasn't seeing any fresh scat or anything, so I made it up to a higher elevation to see if anything would be different. And that was quite an effort. I didn't film that climb because I was too busy climbing. But yeah, got up to well over 1,000 meters. And that's good. I mean, it's cool to just punch up and get some altitude. But I don't think I got the best out of doing this. I wasn't taking advantage of this correctly because by the time I'm up there and ready to drop down, it's about 3 p.m. And, you know, midwinter days when it starts getting dark, just a bit after 5 o'clock, I was really, not taking the best advantage of it. So let me just use a bit of diagram here to explain to you just what my afternoon looked like after this. So after coming up out of the creek on the other side, punched up a spur line right to the top of the ridge here and just started to mosey my way down. And generally speaking, this isn't a bad technique, except that at this time of day, bedded animals would probably be on the move a little bit. Not always heading down, but just starting to shuffle around and feed about a bit. But I got myself stuck really up high in these just thick jungly gullies, and this area is known for it. And just looking for a kind of way for me to punch my way down, but I couldn't find it.
Got half an hour of light left and I'm back in the jungle. It's annoying. It's just like little wet crossing like this after wet crossing after wet crossing. And the strange tobacco Jurassic Park-ish fucking bush, I don't like it. Shouldn't be too hard in it, but it's just popped up everywhere. About 2 honks.
So here's me, right up in the dense, thick stuff, higher altitude, and I'm putting up deer basically where you'd expect them to bed, right at the end of the day, as if they haven't shifted all day.
Damn it, I got close. It was a mum and like a yearling. You could hear the high pitch of the yearling. I came close to the yearling. I only saw a bit of tail. It's thick in there, eh? It's getting dark. But to be onto him, that was a lot of close honking. I love that shit. Oh, for fuck's sake. Damn it. I'm in a tough spot. I need to get out of here. Can't shoot them deer. I've got to go.
So yeah, I was just struck by the fact that these animals were really hunkered down, and right at the end of the day, there they are, tucked right up where they normally bed. I can only put this down to pressure, that they've gone completely nocturnal, and that they're very wary of anywhere that's down near the lake, obviously because that's where most hunters come from. So I made my way down the creek, and very limited light, but that was all right. Got out of there.
Oh, I followed this creek out. See the lake's up there. Oh, the lake's right here. Good. That's a relief. I was a bit fast and loose there. Playing a bit tight for time. Got the old legs off a bit. That's nice.
So next morning, I poked up another few little coves to have a little fish and explore just parts of the lake I hadn't been to before, and found myself up this one little bay where there was clearly no sign of people camping there because there wasn't any spaces to camp, but it was very pretty and the fishing wasn't on, so I poked up and had a look. Was onto deer almost straight away, right down low on the creek near the lake edge.
Oh, fuck, he's gone. Damn it. I fucking had her in the sides.
So I think basically that next day just proved that where the deer want to sit down is very, very related to hunting pressure. And that all comes down to just how easily accessible a gully system is. Doesn't mean the deer aren't there. It's just amazing how quickly they react. They react by going right up into those high elevations and almost going nocturnal. But I was frustrated because kind of getting onto very close chances and not sealing the deal, but that's sambar hunting. That is what it is. So I carry one of these, Garmin InReach Mini, Yet another thing on long-term loan from Andy. Life jackets and GPSs, bro. I'd be screwed without you. Thank you. These are okay. I've had instances when I was down in Tasmania, for example, where I thought I had everything set up. I looked at all the subscriptions, made sure I had the right people registered with numbers and emails to make sure that when I was sending messages that they would get them. I think you'd already pick up it's a bit of a complicated process. It's not a simplistic thing. So if something's complicated and you make one little wrong step, people don't get messages, people don't get the information, and so it doesn't serve its purpose. When I was in Tasmania, for example, I got out and people were like, I'd been texting, they're like, "It's cool, I'm glad you're alive, didn't hear from you." I'm like, wow, serving its purpose. What that had come down to actually is there not being enough money in my account whilst I was out there for the subscription to roll over. But simple things like that makes me uncomfortable. So these aren't a be-all and end-all safety-wise. Now, when I was out there on the lake, I was thinking, all right, third day out there and into it, have another crack and get some messaging on here about weather coming in. I was texting Tristan because these are linked to your phone, so you punch your message in, goes via this. You can do it manually on these, it's very difficult in long term, so you do it on the phone app. And he's like, all right, weather's coming in. This is what the weather looks like from the bomb. And it was 48 hours of non-stop heavy rain coming soon. And I made the decision based on that to react, pack up camp, which takes time. It's not a quick thing. And get on the boat and get out of there. And I think that was a very risky thing to do. I pulled it off. I got off the lake safely. It was one of those things that if I just an extra half an hour stuffing around, I might have found myself in the middle of a very deep lake in a very small boat with some very big wake and heavy winds. There was just lots that could have gone wrong, and I've been reflecting a lot about that decision because at the end of the day, I have the gear to stay, and it might be a boring 48 hours just bunkered down by the rain. Boring's better than being at risk. It's not the first time I've made a choice like this, which has put myself at risk, and I'm going to put this out there on camera right now that I'm not interested in taking those risks anymore. I will take the dull choice if it's the safe choice, because I want to do this for a while. I want to get stuck out there. I certainly don't want to sink in a boat in the middle of the Alpine, and I don't think any of you guys do either. It's just very easy when you're by yourself to think, yeah, no, I'll be alright, I've got this managed, and then you get caught, and then you're stuck. I guess this leads me on to the second example I want to talk about. I won't talk about it for too long, but I got lost out in the high country almost 2 years ago. And a lot of this was down to the use of electronics and also my own sense of, it's not complacency, it's overconfidence. Overconfidence in my ability and choosing to take a bit of a risk when I could have just taken that choice and ridden out the weather. So, backpacking in, chasing sandbug, with the intention of camping out for a couple of nights. And I tell you what, this was a great hunt. I really enjoyed this. Please take note of how flat the country I'm hanging out on is. It's not all flat, but these areas that I was accessing in via, very flat. So, got the deer I wanted, took a couple of days, that was fine. I scurried up into a little hilltop to find a bit of phone service. I called my cousin and let him know that I had shot a deer. He lives in the area. And his response was, that's cool, you've got weather coming your way, cold weather, sleet and icy rain and all that, what's your plan? And I thought, alright, I'd like to get out of there. But it's towards the end of the day, time's running out, and I'm also very exhausted by this stage.
Well, there's just a bit of urgency in me having to get out of here now. Got phone reception, and it turns out that the weather that was coming this way is coming there midnight, and it's heaps, like it's hectic. And the way that I was planning to finish this trip will probably be extremely difficult. Anyway, I've had to leave all the deer on a saddle there, up off the ground. Hopefully it'll be fine. And just see what this big Arctic blast that comes through looks like, because anyway, oh fuck, I'm so fucked. I'm so fucking exhausted. And I can't really stop.
So as you can probably pick up, I was already stressed, and there was a time pressure, sense of urgency. The wild card on top of this is I had been using my phone, the Avenza app, as my primary GPS, and the phone battery was low. My charger, been using that was already low. I thought even along with this I had a third backup for power. This solar panel on the back of my Lucy light, which has worked for me in the past, doesn't work when it's overcast. So I had all of this reliance, navigation-wise, on my phone. But I guess I didn't feel reliant at the time because I have a pretty strong sense of bush confidence. I feel like I knew where I'd come from. I feel like I rely on some pretty simple parameters to keep me safe when it comes to shifting about. I feel like I most of the time know where north is. And a lot of that's based on the arc of the sun. Something I've gotten used to over the years. Things like that. I rely very heavily on catching features, where if you've got a main road in a certain direction, like heading west, you're going to hit that road. Head northwest, you're going to hit that road. Head southwest, you're going to hit that road. Same goes for power lines. Same goes for creek lines. All of this gave me a very strong sense of confidence, which I was all about to lose all at once.
Well, where I am right now is not too far off where I actually got lost. And we've got some pretty flat, wide country here. Not 100% flat, there's undulations, but no key features. And in a situation like this, you think, well, that's fine. Pick your direction and work with it. Now, as we'd expect, sun rises in the east and then sets in the west. But in the southern hemisphere in the middle of winter, what we're actually looking at there is northwest. It's northeast to northwest. In a lot of Victorian forests like this, particularly during winter, you'll have mist through most of the gullies for the majority of the day and the night time. There'll be less sunlight, there'll be heaps of rain, if not snow that's melted. The point being, everything's wet. It stays wet for a long time. Many of you would be in this situation. Wet sticks just slip straight off them. And essentially, when the entire forest floor is like that, you're bound to have a trip at some stage. I did that 6 times. Call me clumsy, fair enough, but it was a built thing. From the first time I did it, I was disoriented. Completely flipped me on my back on the ground, and it was just as the light was really going down. So it took a bit for me to kind of get to my senses again, pick myself up, get my gear up, and by that stage, there was no light whatsoever. So there were certain key things that I was relying on. Can you hear that? So one of my catching features was the road. If I can't see anything, light's gone, I'm without my natural compass of the sun, that was one thing I could work with. Go on, Land Cruiser. Until it gets to a point with a country road where no one's driving at night. And I literally did not get one single car drive past from 8 PM onwards. For the life of me, without that traffic noise, and because I had no light whatsoever, and no headlights because the cars weren't there, I had nothing to work with.
Now, to spare you too much of the rest, think, alright, well, what can you rely on then? How do you get yourself in one direction? A compass would be good, wouldn't it? And I didn't have my compass with me, I had it in some other kit, and hadn't really thought about it because I guess I just never ever take it out of my pack because I've always relied on using the sun, things like that, were just my own general sense of place in the geography. And it wasn't until I got into the situation where I'm like completely stuffed, say, oh, your phone has got a compass on it. I'm like, yeah, well, they have to be calibrated. Because I tried to start using that, even though I only had like 1 or 2% battery left. And what was supposed to be west was taking me northeast. And so you can imagine that when I was using like very small glimpses at my Avenza app on my GPS, just like, alright, just give it 30 seconds, see where you are. It was just dotting me all over the place. So I thought, oh, the GPS is screwed. It's like, no, the GPS wasn't screwed. I'd screwed myself up and just couldn't believe how badly I'd gotten lost. So, very long story short, my cousin rescued me, and he was able to do so because he already has huge experience in the bush. He knows the local area extremely well. He has an emergency services background, understands navigation, and he kind of predicted where I might have stuffed myself up. He'd gone and contacted a local on some private property not too far from there, and they basically just got a spotlight, you want to use for foxing and all that, and then just shone it into the air and gave a whole bunch of cooees. I gave a few of them back. It took a long while, but I poddled my way over there and I was safe. Now, lucky me to have a family member who is that sharp and well equipped. Not everyone can expect that. So what the plan B is, just set up the tent and not leave. If it was a wet night, so what? Would it be fun? No. Would it be boring, a bit lame? Probably. But at least that would be safe. The issue here, I guess, is when you give someone your intentions, not sticking to it can really raise alarm bells. There's a few times where giving my trip intentions have been a problem, where I'm right onto some good animals, and I'm like, wow, another day I could last out here, but I've told someone I'm coming home. And that's half the reason why I went and got one of these, so that I could communicate with people, say I'm going to stay a little longer, stay a little less. And sometimes they don't work, so that can screw you over. I'm not trying to be negative about these things, I'm just saying that we can't be reliant on the one thing. Obviously, for going bush again without compasses, I've just got as many silver compasses as I could. I put them in my day pack, put them in my little belt rig. Of course, in my hiking pack, it's just tied onto it. I've learnt my lesson there. You can hardly call a video like this entertainment. So why have I done it? When I got off the lake, I got service, and the first thing I saw was a little article that came up on the feed saying that a hiker had died in Tasmania. And I don't know heaps about what happened there, except to say that this person was experienced and had a military background, they knew what they were doing, and the mountains claimed their life. I say this with the utmost respect, but it wasn't too long ago that a very, very respected Australian hunter named Murray Horsfield, who himself, not just experienced but had a military background, was living in New Zealand and spending a lot of time in the bush there, and the mountains claimed his life too. It just means none of us are off the hook there. So what you've seen of my hunting in this trip is the norm of my hunting. It's successful maybe a third of the time, and you just crack away at it. There's risks, and there's the chance of a bit of hardship in the high country if you're not prepared for it. So I just wanted to get that out there, and I promise that the next videos won't be focused on this. It'll be focused more on how you can overcome that and get your gear right and get your planning right and be very successful without having to get yourself stuck in these situations. Just like throwing out that word of caution to people, because at the end of the day, none of these good times are worth it unless we can come home to tell someone else about it. To be perfectly honest. That's my opinion. I really hope it's your opinion too. Anyway, folks, keep it safe, keep it natural. I'll catch you on the next one, eh? Peace.